Good afternoon to everybody. Here we are, we can start. I am Maria Giovanna Colombo. I am the coordinator of the Erasmus project in Cavalieri School. And we welcome everybody, especially our special guest, Alessandra, Daniela, the responsible of the USR, and Daniele. And okay, we have our principal that has just joined us. And so I think that we can start. It's a pleasure to have you here. You know that in COVID time, we are obliged to have online conferences, but we can say that it's a positive aspect because probably a conference would have been more difficult to organize. On the contrary, when we have special guests online, it's easier. We have some people from Poland, from the other countries that are our partners. And the title of this conference is Wheelchair Tennis and Robotics. And we are going to, okay, welcome again. We have some teachers from Poland again. Hello, Magda. Hello, Margosha. And hello, Marco. So I was saying that it's a special conference and it's a part of a group of conferences that we are going to have. This one will be in collaboration with the Wheelchair Tennis Association, Mettiamoci in Gioco. Okay, and first of all, I will introduce the agenda. We are starting with the opening greetings by our principal, Chiara Lanzani, and Daniela Fumagalli from the Regional Education Office Sports Department. After that, I will have a very short presentation of the project for the ones that do not know it, but I hope it won't be boring. After my presentation, there will be Alessandra Venturi from the association Mettiamoci in Gioco, and we will interview Daniele Colombo, who is a wheelchair tennis player. In the second part of this online event, we are going to talk about the relationship between wheelchair tennis and robotics. So we are going to meet a special guest, Allegra Magenta, who is going to tell us about her bionic arm, and she will be interviewed by Davide Paroni and Angelo Piazzolla. And we will close with the presentation of a project that is being prepared because they are working on it by 3 students from the first Scienze Applicate, Alessandro La Rocca Davino, Matteo Ricchichi, and Riccardo Liri, they are going to explain what they are preparing, a special surprise. Okay, first of all, I give the word to our principal, and she will say hello to everybody.
Hello, thanks for coming to you all. I think that this project is a very interesting project with important ethical implications. And I'm really happy that in this situation of emergency, our team has managed to organize the meetings anyway. So thanks everybody, and we can start with the meeting.
Okay, Daniela, please, from the office in Milano. Daniela, please, the microphone. You have to open the microphone. I think she had some problems. Just wait if she succeeded in entering again. Okay, maybe I can start saying something about the project, and as soon as she...
I'm sorry, but...
Okay.
Okay. I'm Daniela Fumagalli. I work in USR in Milan. This work is important for me and for all community. Good work for everyone.
Thank you very much. For us, it's very important to have the support of a regional education department. Okay, just for the few that probably don't know about our project, I am going to say something about Able and Disabled Let's Play Together. It's a project that started more or less 2 years ago. It was supposed to go on for 2 years, but because of the COVID, we have an extra year to work. And we can say that it's quite positive, because if we had stopped the project last summer, we wouldn't have had these online conferences. Here you can see 2 pictures. They were taken in the moment in which we started in 2018. And it's an Erasmus project. People normally think that Erasmus is only for adults, for university students, but on the contrary, the Erasmus project is also for schools. High schools and the middle school, no problem at all. And the schools have a partnership and they work on a particular topic. We have some partners, Germany, Poland, Spain, and the Netherlands. And together with them, we are working on sports. Sports that is very important for our students, for everybody, but for students in particular. And through sports, we wanted to promote social inclusion and the European values. But how are we going to work? Making our students, or also parents and everybody, to be in contact with people that are sport people, but in a different way, because they have a disability. Having a disability means that you can do the same as the others, but in a different way. And we know, because we have seen so far, that this way of working together is extremely important, because everybody can learn from the determination of these particular persons. And we have also created a website of the project, and if you are interested, you can join it later. Here you can see our schools. We are Parabiago, Liceo Cavalleri, Bendinate, IAS Bendinate in Palma di Mallorca on the Balearic Islands, the BBC Europe Schule in Sieke, Germany, very close to Bremen. I can't pronounce the Dutch school in Amsterdam, really very difficult. And you can see from the picture, a very, very particular school, also from the architectural point of view. And then Torun, another name that I don't want to pronounce because it's too difficult for me. Torun is very famous in the world because it's the place where Niccolò Copernico was born. Okay, so what are our objectives? First of all, we wanted to promote inclusive education and lifelong learning for all students with and without abilities. We want to fight against the discrimination on grounds of disability in Europe. It's very important to be able to build self-confidence, motivation, and learning skills through sport, and to lead our students to be more independent, to improve knowledge about Paralympic sports, because we are also working in collaboration with CIP in Italy, the different organization that deal with Paralympic sports. We wanted to promote the substantial earth quality of life benefits, that we can get participating in disability sports. And we wanted to raise awareness of the health benefits that sport activity can have for young people. We are working together, the 5 schools, and we also have some outcomes, some results. For example, we are creating videos, an ebook with the stories, because we are interviewing a lot of people with a disability, a photographic ebook. We are organizing conferences to disseminate the project that are open to the community. And obviously, we have a website where you will be able to find all the products. Not everybody knows that when a school works on an Erasmus project, at the very end, has to upload in a European Erasmus results platform all the outcomes that we have produced, because they have to be available to everybody. Here you can see the picture of our website, able and disable erasmusplus.com, and as you can see, it is divided in different sections, and there you can find everything. How do we work? As you can see, we work in collaboration with the different European organizations, but our students, and probably this is the most important part of the project, have the possibility to meet together, to have both short-term meetings, normally 5 or more students from every school, long mobilities. For example, the students that you can see in the picture are students that spent 2 months in the Netherlands or in Spain, and we hosted some students. And then the final meeting should have been last May in Italy, but unfortunately we couldn't do it because of COVID. What have we organized so far? We had a meeting in Spain, February 2019, that was focused on water sports. And every time there is a meeting, students have to meet people with disabilities that practice the sport, and they have to try the sports themselves. In March, the meeting was in Turin, and it was on wheelchair basket and lift weighting. In Germany, September 2019, the meeting was in Germany. Between September and March, student mobilities. So just a second, because I have to welcome Allegra, that is our guest, just to say hello. Then in February, we had a meeting in the Netherlands focused on juggling, giocoleria, okay? And then we started with the events online. We had an Erasmus event on sports and disability in COVID time, focused on cycling, and again another one in December, when Wheels Make You Fly. Here you can see some pictures. What are we going to organize in the future? Okay, obviously today we are having the online meeting on wheelchair tennis and robotics, in collaboration with Mettiamoci in Gioco, the association, and we want to thank Alessandra and Daniele, who are taking part. On the 5th of February, we will have a special meeting directly from Amsterdam, organized by our partner, but Allegra will take part into it, and we thank her for this. Then we will have on the 26th of February an event on sitting volley. On the 26th, another one on tour ball and goal ball. that are sports for soccer, we can say, for blind people. And then we will have one on skiing on the 23rd of April. I don't know if we are lucky. I don't know if COVID will give us the possibility to organize the final student meeting in presence. But for sure, if it's not in presence, we will do it online. And we will have, on that occasion, students of different nationalities that are working together. And we will have some video conferences, for example, on accessibility, on architectural barrier, on sport. We will prepare the agenda later on. Okay, so now we are ready to start with our presentations. So join us also in the future. Thank you very much for your attention. Now I give the word to some of the students. Giovanni. Giovanni is going to introduce a special surprise. Giovanni, you can start.
Okay. Hello, everybody. We have the pleasure to show you a video message direct from Australia by Yannick Sinner.
As usual, there are problems. Just 2 seconds.
Hello to everyone from Australia. I am very glad to send you this little message for all students who are working on and involved in Able and Disable Let's Play Together. I know the importance of sports and especially tennis. Talking a little bit about myself, it's obviously very important. Playing tennis, I started to play tennis when I was 4 years old, 5 years old. So I was playing not much. I was playing once a week, and then I decided to play tennis every day when I was around 14 years old. So obviously it's important playing tennis on every kind of level. But the most important thing is to grow as a person. So I think that's the biggest advice I can give you. So I hope you enjoyed it. Stay healthy. Enjoy what you're doing, and yeah, thank you very much for listening to me. Ciao.
Okay, it's a pleasure to have a video message from Yannick because now he is, I think, in quarantine before starting the Open in Australia, and we were really very, very glad to have his video message. But we have another one. Okay, Natale.
And we have the pleasure to show you another video message directly from Egypt. Simone Roncalli, who studied in Liceo Cavalleri for 2 years.
Okay, just 2 seconds.
Hello everybody from Egypt. My name is Simone Roncalli. I'm a professional tennis player, and I would like to send you a message for your project and the event wheelchair tennis and robotics that you are organizing today. I think it's a great opportunity to inform everybody about the importance of tennis and sport in general at any age, at any level. I think from tennis you have the chance to learn a lot, because when you play tennis you have the opportunity to overcome all the problems with a great determination. I am from Parabiago. I attended il Liceo Scientifico Cavalleri years ago. I started to play tennis when I was 7 years old at the local tennis club, and after, when I grew up and I improved, I started to play a lot of tournaments around the world, and I'm very happy for what I did and what I'm doing, because I learn a lot from tennis, and from a sport life. I have been successful thanks to my determination first. I think is one of the most important thing in tennis and in tennis life. But of course, the help of the person around me, my parents, my coach, my friends, and many sacrifice. For this reason, I can understand the difficulty that wheelchair tennis players have to face. And I really thank you for what you are organizing, what you are doing. It's important to understand how much tennis is a sport that help you to grow physically and morally. I think it's important for you teenagers to listen the stories of people with disabilities, especially in this period with COVID that stress everybody. Of course, I wish you all the best and bye from Egypt.
Okay, as you can see, Simone was one of our students years ago, and we are really very proud because now he is playing at international levels, and in this moment he's taking part into an international competition in Egypt. You know, when we see, we are teachers in this project. Teachers are working together with the students. And as you could see, we are trying to involve students of any age. The two students that introduced the two video messages are in the first class, because we think it's very important to make them work on this project, because they can really learn a lot. And working together, preparing products. And that's why, you know, we thank Simone, because it's an example of the results that a school can obtain, even in sport. And now we are going to start with Alessandra. Alessandra, thank you again very much for your collaboration. And Alessandra will tell us about wheelchair tennis, because she's part of an association. And okay, Alessandra.
Yes, hello to everybody. Today I present you wheelchair tennis, and first of all I will show you a video to introduce you to wheelchair tennis.
When I bought my first wheelchair, I went to EPC, Pete Norfolk, was then the #1 wheelchair tennis player. He understood that I played badminton from a very young age. Badminton and tennis is quite similar, so I took it up, I tried it, never looked back. I remember it was the hardest thing for me to push a wheelchair, but then hold a racket and push a wheelchair. So I'm always training and trying to get faster. It's normally 5 days a week, coaching, hitting against other players, fitness on court or in the gym. But we travel 20, 25 weeks of the year, so I'm interspersed all over the world with that. I love the sport, I love the competition, I love the training, and I just love pushing myself.
Come on, come on, go, 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 go. Tennis is my life. That's what I've learned all my lessons. And that's the biggest reason I am who I am today.
Okay, Alessandra,
Okay.
your
So
presentation.
yes, let me start with the presentation. First of all, I would like to explain to you what types of disabilities exist. Then I would like to introduce you to wheelchair tennis and give you some guidelines for tennis training with wheelchair tennis players. Afterwards, I would like to present you the tennis team I founded in 2011 named Mettiamoci in Gioco. Finally, I would like to tell you something about my personal experience as a tennis teacher. And at the end, there are some other 2 videos that I would like to show you. Fantastic. This slide is entitled Adapted Sport. This term implies that it's the sport that must adapt itself and become accessible to all and not the people with disabilities who must adapt to a sport. Disabled athletes fall into 3 macro categories: the intellectually relational disabled, the physically disabled, and the sensory disabled. I would like to focus on the physically disabled in order to understand which types of disability can play wheelchair tennis. First of all, people with spinal cord injury. In the next slide, I will explain this type of disability to you. There are people with spina bifida. They have a congenital malformation of vertebral column. Poliomyelitis is a viral infection affecting the spinal cord. Amputees are people that undergone the amputation of a limb or segment of it. People with cerebral palsy have a brain damage characterized by movement alteration. Finally, there is a category nominated Others. People with rheumatoid arthritis belong to this group. It's an inflammatory disease affecting the joints. And in this category are also people with muscular dystrophy. It's a disease of muscles genetically determined. These disabilities are allowed to play wheelchair tennis, and they are part of the Italian Tennis Federation. I would like to further explore spinal cord injuries with you. Perhaps you are already aware of it, but a review definitely does not harm. The following two forms of spinal cord injury can be distinguished: tetraplegia, which consists of a partial or complete paralysis of the four limbs with a spinal cord injury in the cervical region, and partial or complete paraplegia of the lower limbs with spinal cord injury at the dorsal or lumbosacral level. Let us now turn to some basic concepts for wheelchair tennis. Wheelchair tennis can be played by anyone with a certified disability in the lower and or upper limbs who is not able to play upright. On a competitive level, disabled tennis players are divided into a quad category. It means only quadriplegic athletes with a cervical injury, and an open category, which included paraplegic who do not have the use of their lower limbs, poliomyelitis, people with spina bifida, amputees, and other less serious conditions. This category is further divided into women, men, and junior players, while in the quad category, men and women play together. What are the substantial differences with standing tennis? There are two main differences. The able-bodied tennis player only needs a tennis racket, while the wheelchair tennis player, in addition to the racket, has to buy a special tennis wheelchair. It has to be custom-made according to his disability. The tennis chair is much lighter and more maneuverable than the walking chair to allow for quicker movement. In addition, the wheelchair tennis player may need a number of accessories, such as straps, to attach himself to the wheelchair for those with a high level of injury and therefore poor trunk balance. Another accessory is the tape or a glove for strapping the racket to the hand in case where the player is quadriplegic. The only rule that differs from tennis for able-bodied players is that the wheelchair player is allowed to double bounce the ball on the ground. As with standing tennis, there is an Italian and international ranking system for wheelchair tennis. Both national and international tournaments exist. Wheelchair tennis is evolving more and more, and the top players are professional tennis players. In the end of the slide, I indicated you the Italian ranking from the last December. As you can see, there are actually in Italy 101 male tennis players, 16 female tennis players, 17 quad tennis players, and 5 junior tennis players. Wheelchair tennis players can also play double, and therefore exists a separate ranking. The number one in wheelchair tennis are in the male ranking the Japanese Shingo Kunieda. You can see him in the picture below. In women is the Dutch Didi de Groot, number one, photo on the right. And in the category of quad is the Australian Dylan Alcott, the leader. What are the methods for wheelchair tennis training? I have divided the methods into 4 categories: physical, technical, tactical, and mental preparation. There are some technical aspects that differ. Tennis teachers like to tell the students to open up, meaning that they should prepare the shot by bringing the racket behind them. In wheelchair tennis, it's strongly recommended to avoid taking the hands off the handring to prepare the shot too early. Otherwise, the tennis player risks not reaching the right position to hit properly the ball. I mean that leaving hand from wheels, the player is losing the ability to control the movement of the wheelchair. For same reason, the preparation of the shot is also less extensive, since the player has a shorter time to prepare the shot. The right coordination and the timing is a key feature for wheelchair tennis players. Another very important technical aspect is learning how to maneuver the wheelchair, not only by hands, but also being aware of how body mass is affecting the movement of the wheelchair while in motion. The wheelchair tennis player has to keep his trunk stable because the rotation of the trunk makes the chair turn in the opposite direction, and this causes the player to lose the correct approach to the ball. Therefore, it's very important that the wheelchair tennis player is able to disconnect the different parts of the body. He must be able to move his arms independently, disconnecting them from the trunk to avoid negative reactions from the wheelchair. In this way, he can create energy through fluid movement. Another point to consider is that the point of impact is lower, but this is due to the fact that they play seated. This is why in wheelchair tennis they play mainly using topspin, as the net is a very high obstacle. The double bounce allows the player to plan a ground court tactic that leads to the need of developing proper strokes. The net is hardly used because the lobs could be very hard to be reached when close to the net due to the poor height of player. A lot of works need to be done also on the serve and to the response to allow the player to create an advantage right away. The topspin backhand can be played differently versus a standing tennis player shot. The wheelchair player used the same side of racket of the forehand as you can see on the picture. The wheelchair tennis player has to work also on his physical preparation, which include mobility in the wheelchair, speed and rapidity, power, endurance, coordination skills, mainly on equilibrium, space-time orientation, reaction, and transformation. The third category concerns tactics. Sporting tactics can be defined as the art of conducting a sporting competition using the best technical, physical, and psychological methods, depending on the external situation in order to achieve the best sporting results. The more technical complete you are, the more tactical solution could be chosen. In wheelchair tennis, it's important to work a lot on movement on the court to allow the tennis player to be in an optimal position to make effective tactical choices. So the basic of tactics, beside obviously the technique, is the position on the court. To complete the picture, there is the mental preparation, which is not different from that of standing tennis player. There are several techniques. One is called bioenergetics, which aims to recover the ability to perceive and feel emotion and sensation through movement. Another very effective technique is ideomotor training, which involves the athlete's ability to mentally evoke body movement sequences, image of the game, kinesthetic sensation of movement. Finally, autogenic training is a popular relaxation technique. Now I would like to present you my sport association that I found with some disabled tennis player in 2011. Just tomorrow is our 10th anniversary. On this slide, you can see our logo and our website address. We are also on Facebook. Mettiamoci in gioco means let's get involved. We nominated the association like this to stimulate people to get going physically and also mentally. Our headquarters is in Gerenzano, a little village in the north of Milan. We train in summer in Aroni Park. It's a park that has inside 4 hard courts. In winter, we usually play indoor at Lanate Tennis Club. Mettiamoci in Gioco is one of the few tennis clubs in our area that deals with tennis for people with disabilities. We strongly believe in helping to promote tennis to beginners, due that we decided to guarantee free of charge lessons to those who have never had the opportunity to try to play and eventually continue in the practice of this wonderful sport. The commitment is to promote tennis for physically and intellectually disabled at all levels as a sporting tool to improve their quality of life and their autonomy. Our guidelines promote and increase integration of people with disabilities in sporting activities, help to overcome the boundary of can't do and to enter the condition of can do, endure the lack of information by most of the people with disabilities who do not know that sporting activities are possible, improve the quality of life of a person with disabilities through motor activities and the regaining of autonomy, increase the knowledge that one can enjoy even small achievements without being a Paralympic champion, and raise awareness among authorities, benefactors, and the general public on the importance of sport for people with disabilities. Our statutory purpose is promoting tennis in the province of Varese, Como, and Milan, and the tennis practice, guaranteeing weekly training sessions for members throughout the sporting season. In this slide, you can see some photos of promotion activity with 2 girls aged 10. I will show you later a video of those tools. Here's a list of our principles. Free of charge promotion that includes 5 hours of tennis lesson for each new player. Disclosure in the territory, that means search and recruitment of resident people with disabilities. Organization of meetings in rehabilitation center in order to introduce to the practice of wheelchair tennis. At these meetings, the patients have the chance to be initiated to a basic experience of wheelchair tennis during the hospital stay. Participation at promotion events on sport days for people with disabilities. This slide shows you our statistics. As you can see, we reached many of our statutory goals. And in the last season, thanks to the promotion activity, 3 people with disabilities had the chance to start to play tennis. We hope that, thanks to promotional activities, more and more athletes could take the opportunity to get involved. Okay. On this slide, you can see some shots from our weekly training with some of our players. Now, I would like to talk to you about my experience as a tennis teacher. It was certainly a great challenge. The technique is almost the same, but I had to learn how to manage wheelchair dynamics. For this reason, I searched for literature on which to study, but I mostly went to tournaments to observe the good players, how they play and how they move. Wheelchair tennis is a sport that is played keeping in movement. The fluidity and the lightness of the movement is a key feature in order not to affect the rolling of the wheelchair. I also need to know the characteristics of my pupils' disability and know how those affect learning. I learned to use a personalized method and to adapt the technique to each athlete to increase their potential and maximize their abilities. I learned to provide alternative strategies in case conventional methods failed. I learned to help athletes achieving realistic goals. I learned to pay attention to remark motor progress to increase self-esteem and motivation to participate. As a teacher, it's important to keep in mind those psychological aspects which are a benefit of this sport. Yes, as a teacher, I learned that there are more specific difficulties for wheelchair tennis players. As a teacher, you must be aware and manage in order to assist the player. For example, in Italy, it's not obvious to find an accessible sports center. It would be convenient if the car park is close to the tennis court, because the wheelchair tennis player has to carry his tennis wheelchair with the bag, and in the meantime, he has to push his wheelchair. The beginner has difficulties to manage all the things together. In this case, I normally ask them if help is needed. The cost of the equipment, I mean especially the tennis wheelchair, is high. For a beginner, it's often too expensive to buy immediately a wheelchair that costs at least 3,000 euro. For this reason, it's important that the sport club own tennis wheelchair available for the players. When the tennis player gets more experience, he will be able to decide if buying a wheelchair customized to fulfill his injury and body size needs. Another difficulty to a player who began to participate at tournaments is the financial commitment. There are many expenses like the travel, the hotel, the food, and so on. Finally, I would like to tell you that I've been teaching for 14 years wheelchair tennis, and it has certainly enriched me as a person and as a tennis teacher. Here are some recommended websites, and in the next slide there are the recommended texts. And now we can see the other videos from our association.
Okay. I don't know if you got it. I said that thank you very much, Alessandra. Before watching the videos, I just want to say that what you were talking about was very interesting. But as a teacher, I can say that when you were talking about the characteristics, the peculiarities of a teacher, they are the same for any kind of teacher, even in our schools.
Yeah, sure.
We will start with the video with the children, and then the second one, and then we will interview Daniele Colombo.
I'll be your dream, I'll be your wish, I'll be your fantasy. I'll be your hope, I'll be your love, be everything that you need. I love you more with every breath, truly, madly, deeply true. I will be strong, I will be faithful, 'cause I'm counting on a new beginning, a reason for living, a deeper meaning, yeah. I wanna stand with you on a mountain, I wanna bathe with you in the sea, I wanna lay like this forever, until the sky falls down on me. And when the stars are shining brightly in the velvet sky, I'll make a wish, send it to heaven, then make you want to cry. The tears of joy for all the pleasure and the certainty that we're surrounded by the comfort and protection of the highest power. In lonely hours, the tears devour you. I wanna stand with you on the mountain, I wanna bathe with you in the sea, I wanna lay like this forever, until the sky falls down on me. Oh, can't you see it, baby? Don't have to close your eyes, 'cause it's standing right before you. All that you need will surely come. I'll be your dream, I'll be your wish, I'll be your fantasy. I'll be your hope, I'll be your love, be everything that you need. I love you more with every breath, truly, madly, deeply do. I wanna stand with you on a mountain. I wanna bathe with you in the sea. I wanna lay like this forever, until the sky falls down on me. I wanna stand with you on a mountain. I wanna bathe with you in the sea. Yeah, I want to.
Okay, while we are waiting for the second video, I just want to say that dissemination is very important. So if you know somebody that is on a wheelchair and wants to practice the sports and try, now you can give Alessandra's address and mettiamoci in gioco, because very often people do not know what is available in the area. Okay, now we have the second video, and I apologize for the problems when we have to charge to upload videos, but here it is. Okay, thank you very much to the association. And now we have some students that are going to interview Daniele Colombo. So Daniele, if you wanted to introduce you, I can translate, don't worry.
Yeah. Preferisco parlare in italiano, mi sento, il mio inglese è un po' traballante.
Ok, ti chiedo solamente di interromperti, di non fare passaggi molto lunghi, così io che possa tradurre.
Certo.
Ok, puoi partire. Se vuoi dire qualcosa su di te prima.
Ma io ho cominciato a giocare a tennis 10 anni fa.
Ok, allora se parli già della tua esperienza, allora ci saranno le domande dei ragazzi. Magari semplicemente introdurti chi sei, da dove vieni.
Io abito in provincia di Varese, insegno in un liceo e ho avuto un incidente nel 2008 e dopo 2 anni ho cominciato a giocare a tennis ed è da 10 anni, quest'anno sono 10 anni che gioco e ultimamente sono anche agonista, nel senso che l'ho preso proprio come sport principale e quindi lo gioco, lo pratico costantemente.
Okay. So I'm going to translate, so later on the students are going to ask you questions. Poi i ragazzi ti faranno delle domande. Okay, Daniele Colombo is a teacher. He teaches philosophy in a high school in our area near Tradate, if I don't make a mistake. And he lives in the same area. He had an accident in 2008, and after 2 years, he started to practice sport. Initially as simply a sport, and now he's getting a professionist, and he takes part into some competitions. Now I have some students that are going to ask you some questions. We can start from the students of first D. I ragazzi della prima D possono fare le prime domande.
Ok, la prima domanda è: quale emozione ti ha trasmesso la prima partita a tennis? What emotion did your first tennis match send you?
Un'emozione molto forte, anche perché in partita è molto diverso giocare rispetto all'allenamento, quindi il rendimento decade notevolmente, per cui diventa molto importante usare la testa e agire psicologicamente su se stessi.
Okay, there's a great difference between playing tennis normally and in a competition, because you have to use your attention, your determination, you have to concentrate much more. So the demand is very high. Okay, grazie Antonio. Second question.
La seconda è: perché hai scelto il tennis in particolare? Why did you choose tennis in particular?
Ho scelto il tennis perché mi piaceva come sport e lo praticavo un po' prima dell'incidente, anche se non era lo sport non è lo sport che ho praticato a livello agonistico. Io ho praticato calcio per 15 anni, però ogni tanto giocavo a tennis e c'è stata questa opportunità mi piace molto, mi piace tuttora, anche se faccio altro, vado in bicicletta, nuoto, però è l'unico sport che faccio a livello agonistico.
Okay, Daniele said that he started to play tennis, even if tennis was not his sport before the accident, but he started because he liked it, and in spite of this, he is practicing many other sports because he's a very sport person. Ok, Giovanni?
Ok, sì, volevo chiedere quanto tempo ti alleni ogni giorno? How often do you train every day?
Ma noi ci alleniamo 2-3 ore alla settimana, ecco, perché più è possibile. Diventa difficile perché lavorando e con i tanti impegni che si hanno, più di quelle 2 o 3 ore diventa difficile, insomma.
Okay, Daniele said that it's training very often is very difficult, so they normally train 2-3 hours a week because they have to to work, and so it's impossible to train more than 2 or 3 hours. Okay, thank you. And then we have Lorenzo.
Sì. Per quale ragione hai deciso di fare sport a livello agonistico? What is the reason you started doing sports on a competitive level?
Inizialmente non era quella l'intenzione, inizialmente volevo fare sport per riacquistare un rapporto col mio corpo che inevitabilmente avevo perso dopo l'incidente. E poi è un po' venuta da sé la cosa, piano piano diventando un po' più capace, il passo a diventare agonista è stato poi un passo normale, per cui, anche se poi non è che abbia fatto tantissimi tornei, anche perché appunto i tornei si giocano sempre dal giovedì alla domenica e lavorando diventa difficile riuscire a farne parecchi, anche perché non sono sempre molto vicini, sono in tutta Italia, per cui è un po' difficile.
Okay, Daniele said that at the very beginning he started playing tennis because he wanted to have again a relationship with his body after the accident. He wanted to test himself. But later on, agonism became a natural consequence of that. And another aspect that is very important is that when you start to play at an agonistic level, you have some problems. And Daniele said that he didn't take part into many competitions because the problem is that competitions are normally from Thursday to Sunday. And if you work, you can't take part in competition that take place far from the area where you live. Okay, Lorenzo, you have a second one?
Hai mai avuto dei momenti in cui pensavi di non riuscire più a giocare a causa delle tue disabilità? Have you ever had moments where you thought you couldn't play anymore because of your disabilities?
No, sinceramente no. I momenti difficili, non solo nel tennis, ma quando ti capita un incidente di questo tipo, sono sempre all'inizio, dove tutto quello che devi fare sembra estremamente difficile, quasi impossibile. E poi le difficoltà diminuiscono col tempo, per cui oggi, anzi, devo dire che sono quasi stupito dei miei miglioramenti nel tennis, nonostante abbia già, non sono più giovane, però rispetto a 10 anni fa riesco a fare cose che non avrei mai immaginato di poter fare quando ho cominciato a giocare a tennis o agli inizi della mia vita in carrozzina.
Okay, Daniele said that maybe at the very beginning there were some difficulties because you have to get used to it. But later on, he learned how to face the difficulties, and the situation got better and better. And nowadays he is astonished because he never expected to get to such a level. Ok, adesso abbiamo i ragazzi della seconda L.
Ecco, se posso dire una cosa in aggiunta.
Ok.
All'inizio diventava quasi difficile fare il passaggio dalla carrozzina di passeggio, cioè questa, e la carrozzina da tennis, dovevo essere aiutato. Adesso è una cosa molto semplice, insomma, che faccio tranquillamente.
Okay, Daniele wants to point out that, for example, at the beginning it was very difficult to go from the normal wheelchair to the tennis wheelchair because it's a different one. But nowadays he hasn't got any problems at all. Passiamo alle domande della seconda L. Chi vuole iniziare?
Inizio io allora.
Nicolò? Ok.
No, va bene, va Muro, che c'era lui.
Sono io.
Ok,
la prima domanda è: quale consiglio dai alle persone con il tuo stesso problema? what advice do you give what advice do you give to people that have your same problem?
Alle persone con il mio stesso problema do il consiglio di cominciare il più presto possibile a fare sport. Lo sport, il tennis, ma altri sport che pratico, sono stati la molla che mi hanno fatto riacquistare un modo normale di vivere, insomma. Per cui io consiglierei a tutti, ma non necessariamente a livello agonistico, anche perché alla fine è possibile fare qualsiasi sport, ci vuole pazienza e allenarsi con coraggio e con costanza, ma noi possiamo fare veramente tutto. Quindi il consiglio che do è quello di, altrimenti si rimane chiusi in casa e si continua a pensare solo alla propria condizione di disabile, mentre così invece si riacquista un senso anche dell'esistenza e della vita, insomma.
Okay, Daniele said something very important. He said that you have to start practicing sport as soon as possible when you are young, because in this way you can step by step learn everything, and practicing tennis, but any kind of sport can help you to go out. It's important, because if you stay at home, you know, the situation gets worse and worse. On the contrary, if you start a sport activity, you are in the middle with other people, you can socialize, and you don't think about the problems that you can have. Okay, second question.
La seconda domanda è: hai realizzato i tuoi sogni? Did you realize your dreams?
Sì, non avevo grandi ambizioni. La mia ambizione, per esempio, nel giocare a tennis è quella di migliorare la tecnica e diventare sempre più capace di fare i colpi, e questo dopo 10 anni posso dire di averlo raggiunto. Di qui poi a vincere tornei, insomma, quella non è una delle mie ambizioni più grandi, però è bello fare dello sport per migliorare sempre, insomma, riuscire a fare le cose in modo sempre migliore, quello è.
Okay, Daniele said that he hadn't got great dreams. What was important for him was to be successful in playing and being improving step by step, because his ambition was not to win competitions, but the situation now he realizes that he is a good wheelchair tennis player. Ok, grazie Mamour. Abbiamo un altro che è Nicolò.
Vorrei andare io.
Ah, Maya, allora passiamo a Maya.
Ciao Daniele, volevo chiederti, ciao. Volevo chiederti se avresti mai pensato di arrivare a questi risultati. Have you ever thought of achieving these results?
No, sinceramente no. E devo dire, l'ho detto anche a Alessandro, la mia maestra, quando giocavo un po' a tennis in piedi, prima dell'incidente, insomma, non giocavo bene come gioco adesso, da un punto di vista tecnico, insomma, e avere un maestro, una maestra è importantissimo per imparare. Ecco, bisogna stare molto ad ascoltare, stare attenti e cercare di fare sempre le cose nel migliore dei modi. Non è facile. Poi il tennis è uno sport che è fortemente autocritico, nel senso che ti mette di fronte sempre a te stesso, e quindi l'autostima va e viene. Comunque sono abbastanza soddisfatto.
Okay, he said that he is very satisfied. He thinks that it's very important to have a teacher, because if you want to improve it, you have to listen, to see, and you have to pay attention to what you are told, but we can say that he has realized all he has achieved what he wanted to achieve. Ok, adesso abbiamo...
Poi volevo chiederti se c'è stato qualche tuo sogno che ti ha spinto ad andare avanti. Did any of your dreams help you to move forward?
No, sogno no. È proprio il piacere di fare lo sport, di occupare del tempo facendo sport. Sogni no, poi all'età che ho non ho molti sogni in questo senso. Certo, se avessi cominciato prima, allora forse sì, ma a questa età è solo per il piacere di farlo e di migliorare, come dicevo prima.
Okay, Daniele said that he hasn't got any dream. It's just a pleasure playing tennis, just for the pleasure to play tennis. Maybe if he had started when he was younger, but at his age, he is satisfied. Niccolò, mi pare le ultime 2 domande. Ok, Niccolò.
Ci mancavano un paio di domande mie e 2 di una mia compagna. So, what gives you the right energy to face a competition? Da dove prendi la giusta carica per una gara?
Ma in gara, come dicevo prima, non c'è bisogno di carica, la carica ti viene. Il problema è sempre quello di arrivare con la testa, insomma. Il tennis da questo punto di vista è uno sport che impegna tantissimo la testa. Prima avete visto Sinner, io ho visto un'intervista con Sinner e lui ha detto che nel tennis l'80% conta la testa, il 20% il fisico e il 10% i colpi. Per cui se lo dice lui...
Okay, so Daniele said that the mind is the most important, and he said the quotation taken from a senior who said that 80% is the mind, 10% the strength, because the mind in tennis in particular is the most important aspect. Okay, Niccolò?
And as a child, who was your hero? Chi era il tuo eroe quando eri bambino?
Ma se devo dire, nel tennis sicuramente, visto l'epoca in cui ero abbastanza giovane, credo John McEnroe, insomma, quello è stato il giocatore di tennis che più ho apprezzato per tante ragioni, insomma.
Okay, so obviously maybe the students don't know him, but John McEnroe was his hero. The last 2 questions, the girl?
Sì, sono io. Chi ti ha supportato di più? Who supported you the most?
Ma nello sport il fatto di avere degli appuntamenti settimanali e poi avete visto Alessandra è una persona fantastica, organizza sempre molto bene, trova tutte le soluzioni possibili. Faccio un piccolo esempio, prima ci allenavamo presso un circolo sportivo, poi sono successi dei problemi e lei ha trovato un altro posto, per cui direi lei, insomma, che supporta sempre tutti noi a continuare a migliorare.
Okay, so Daniele said that the person that supported them is clearly Alessandra, the teacher. Just to give you an example, he said that some months ago they had problems with the club where they were training, but since she is very good at organizing, she immediately found a solution and now they are training in another club. Ok, Elisa, la seconda?
Cosa vuoi fare quando smetterai di lavorare? What do you want to do when you retire?
Ma magari giocare qualche ora in più alla settimana, se l'età me lo permetterà, magari, non so, riuscire a fare qualche torneo in più. Comunque occupare un po' più di tempo nel fare sport, ecco, diciamo così. Tennis e le altre cose che faccio, bicicletta e cose.
Okay, Daniele said that surely after the retirement he's going to play more and maybe have the possibility to take part in more tournaments. Ok, grazie mille Daniele. È stato
Grazie a voi, grazie a
Thank you
voi.
very much. It was very kind of you. And now we are starting the second part, and I would like to welcome Allegra Magenta. She is a Paralympic table tennis player. And since we are going to talk about robotics, how robotics can help table tennis or tennis player in getting a solution to all the problems that a person can have. We just wanted to thank Allegra, and remember we have another appointment on the 5th of February. We are going to have another online event, and Allegra is taking part as a tennis player. But today she's going to talk about her bionic arm. Hello, Allegra, and thank you very much. First of all, it has been very kind of you to be part of our project.
Thanks to you for the invite, and hello guys. My name is Allegra Magenta, and your teacher invited me today to talk about the prosthesis. So my right arm, as you can see, I got this prosthesis. My amputation is very high, so I don't have my elbow. The elbow is down from my amputation. And that is a consequence of my accident that I had in 2012. And that made me also paraplegic. So you don't see, but I got a wheelchair downstairs here. So I'm moving with the wheelchair, and I got the amputation. That's my physical disability. And I know I can talk to you about a lot of stuff, but I know that some of you have some questions and are interested about the prosthesis. Essentially, is really new prosthesis. I made it in Turin 2 years ago, and they use the potential muscle that I still have in my little arm. They found 2 muscles active, and these 2 muscles allowed me to open and close the hand. So one muscle open and the other one close my hand. That's the main stuff that I can do. There are a lot of prostheses, and if my amputation was lower, so if I had my own elbow, the prosthesis will be, of course, shorter, and I have more muscle that could control the prosthesis. In this case, I have these 2 movements, but they are enough to grab the object and do the stuff I cannot do with just one hand.
Okay, now we have Davide Baroni and Piazzolla that want to ask you some questions. Who wants to start? Davide?
I'll start. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Davide, and I want to ask you something about your prosthesis. So, your prosthesis has come to cost 25,000 euro circa. I want to ask you if, in your opinion, should this sort of help be more open to those in need?
Allora, this prosthesis, I didn't pay it because the Comune Milan, let's say the sanitary association pay for it, and they pay 1 each 6 years. So I had my incident in 2012, and the first prosthesis I made in 2013 in Budrio. Budrio is a little place close to Bologna, where also Alex Zanardi went to make these prostheses, because it's one of the main centers in Europe, we can say. And I made the first prosthesis there. It was a lot different from this one. It was more mechanical, so didn't use my muscle, but my shoulder movement. Wasn't quite good for me because my spinal cord injury is very high. I got the injury at this level, so I got good muscles from here up, nothing down, and that kind of prosthesis blocked me all the muscle, my upper muscle. So it wasn't really good, and I couldn't wear it a lot of all those years, and I had to wait a lot since 2 years ago to have another prosthesis without paying it. Every person with disability can approach to this prosthesis. The problem is sometimes with bad weather, the amputation measure can change, so can become bigger or smaller, and that's a problem because you cannot wear it, the prosthesis in a proper way, or usually is a problem much more common to people with the amputation of the leg, so they have all the weight on it, and if the leg change measure, is really difficult to enter inside the prosthesis and wear it well. That's a big problem because all the change or the modification of the prosthesis, you need to pay for it. That's kind of problem because are really expensive. And in Italy, fortunately, they help us a bit. They can do more, but it's already a good stuff. Because if you think about it, a leg prosthesis, you use it every day, and it's like your shoes, and you don't change your shoes every 6 years. So many times you have to pay something more to make it work well. Did I answer to your question?
Yeah, I think we did. Okay, Davide?
Okay, so the second question is if allora, what were the times to get it?
The times? The times?
Yes, the times. How much you had to wait?
You got one prosthesis every 6 years from the state. Otherwise, you need to buy it. But it's a lot expensive, as you told me. The price is around, for this prosthesis is around 20,000 euros, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now it's my turn. Hi, Allegra. In your opinion, could robotics offer additional tools in order to improve sports activity?
That's for sure. Depends from sports. For example, in swimming, you're not allowed to use prosthesis. So the amputees athlete, the athlete that has got amputation, couldn't wear the prosthesis to swim. So it depends from the sport. This end is helping me a lot in fencing and table tennis, that are my two sports, because they give me much more balance, and I can grab with the prosthesis my wheelchair and do much better with my table tennis shots, and also in fencing. I can grab the wheelchair, the fencing wheelchair. I can grab it with this one hand, and I can do my shot much longer. So for sure, in sports, I try, and it helps. It depends on the sport, because for example, let me think. In swimming is not allowed. I don't know if other sports. Maybe it's just swimming, because I'm studying. Yeah, I'm trying to see in my mind all the Paralympic sports, and ski. In ski, you don't need it because you are sit. So if you have problems to your upper arm, you can wear the prosthesis. Otherwise, the leg prosthesis is not useful. It depends from the person and from the sport. That's my answer.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And also, being an athlete, you travel a lot. So I wanted to ask you, Italy, compared to other countries that you have been, is more or less advanced about the services offered for people in wheelchairs?
Unfortunately, we are a lot. We are not at the same level in Europe and in the world. My first travel in wheelchair was as soon as I get off the hospital, and we went with my parents. We went in London because they told me that it is a really good city, and I really didn't find any obstacle. There are ramp everywhere. I didn't have difficult also for the accommodation. So the hotel has got the disabled room, and the bathroom was okay. So what I mean with the bathroom is okay. With an accessible bathroom need a shower without any step to get in. So at the same level, so you can go with your bath wheelchair inside without any problem. And the mirror at our height and the space you need to turn with the wheelchair inside the bathroom. And then I realized also that all the city where have been Paralympics games, they are all really accessible because they made a program to make the city accessible for the games. And I realized it when I went in Rio de Janeiro in 2016. I was a volunteer there for the Olympic Games, and I see how they do their best with the possibility and the money they got. That is not comparable. It's not. It's a different world over there. So they really live in a different way and have different ideas and different kind of life. But they try their best to make accessible what it wasn't, and make accessible is quite difficult sometimes. It's much better that the building born accessible with the ramp. For example, I went in Australia, in Melbourne, and over there is all new, and really you have no problem because it's born accessible, and no one has to. No one made some work to let it accessible. It just born accessible. So there is a big difference between make the work after or choice to do or try to do all the stuff from the beginning accessible. And then I went in Colonia for a tournament, also in Colonia in Germany. All the transport are really much better than in Italy. Yes, I travel a bit. I can say that in Italy we can do better. Milano is already good in Italy, but I did an Italian championship in Sicily around Acireale, Taormina, that area, and it's really beautiful and with a lot of history. But for wheelchair, it's really difficult to travel around by yourself. You need help to go around for do your tour.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Allegra. It was a pleasure to have you as our special guest. Remember, on the 5th of February, you will be our special guest in the Netherlands and in Italy. Thank you very much again, and see you soon.
Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao. And now we are going to listen to the students of the first EA that are going to present their robotic project. You will listen what they are going to present. Okay. Who wants to start? Matteo?
Sì, inizio io, prof.
Okay, just 2 seconds. The presentation is arriving.
Technology is nothing. What's important is that you have a faith in the people, that they basically good and smart, and if you give them tools, they'll do wonderful things with them. Steve Jobs. This end can help in different areas, from sport to medicine and in everyday life. The Czech writer Kalle Kappe was the first to use the term robots in 1920. In fact, described the term having identified machines similar to human beings. To word Capek envisioned was a very fantastic word. In those years, I knew literally genre was born, the science fiction genre, a genre that caught my attention precisely because it was able to imagine events that today have become real, such and electronic brains, robot automation, the discovery of space, and many others. In it, what characterized the science fiction genre in the imagination of new worlds, new eras, technological evolution, and the human species. Star Wars, the burden of the civilization, of the evolution of the languages. Okay. Our project aims at creating a mechanic end in order to help disabled people play certain sports such as tennis or baseball. The end is controlled by an Arduino connected to the 5 servo motors that allow the movement of the 5 fingers of the hands.
The components. Servo motors, particular motor used in different fields and provides for a control of the various position of the components. Button, one of the simplest components of the fan electronic circuit is the button. It has 2 writes. One of the 2 is connected to voltage while the other is connected to the one of the Arduino pins. When pressed, the positive voltage is brought to the input pin, 9-volt battery, and Arduino Nano.
What's Arduino? Some of you probably know it. Arduino is an open source electronic platform based on its own hardware and software. This is an Arduino board. The cards are able to read the inputs, the digital analog inputs, and turn it into an output. For example, an input is the light on a sensor or a finger on a button, and the output is the activate an engine and turn on a LED. The Arduino is a programming language, is used to control the board, is based on its own language called C. The realization. For the fingers, we are going to use the TPU, the thermoplastic polyurethane, a very flexible and not very rigid material. For the structure, we are going to use the PLA, polyactic acid. All the material are 3D printable. The servo motor will be positioned at the base of each finger and will allow their movement. The Arduino board will connect the button to the servo motors, which will move according to its values. How does it work? Each movement of the end is managed by the programmable Arduino circuit, which activates to the servo motors and the fingers through a simple button. In addition, the end will be able to move thanks to the application of a 9-volt battery.
Robotics in various fields. The hand could allow people who play tennis to make real movements with the use of the hand, without any kind of limitation or other alternative, such as buffering your hand around the racket, which often causes problems for athletes. Cost and under useful info. 3D printing 10 15, servo motors $15 euros, and Arduino One 20-25 euros.
Okay, so I just want to tell everybody that these three guys are attending the first class. They have just entering our school, and their physical education teacher was astonished by what they are organizing. That's why they were asked to prepare something from the robotic point of view to be applied at wheelchair tennis. And we were so astonished that we are going to pay for the material they need to prepare these this sort of object that will help at the end. And then if the player of the Mettiamoci in Gioco agree, we can try, we can see if it works, and we are really sure that it will work. Okay, with this presentation, it's all. We wanted to thank all the students that worked for this event, because remember, if we hadn't the students, we couldn't do anything, because they are working really very hard. We are thanking the Alessandra and Daniele and all the staff of Mettiamoci in Gioco. We are thanking the office in Milano, the educational office. We are thanking Allegra, but remember, we just ask you to fill in the questionnaire, the feedback form that you can find in the chat. It's very important for us because we can have a feedback of the event. Really, we thank you very much. We hope that you enjoyed, and we hope that you will be with us also on the 5th of February, the end of February, with the volley. And probably there will be other surprises because, for example, now there are the Polish teachers. Maybe we can organize an event also on basket, if they agree, or any other sport, because what we are doing is to work together with all the students of the different countries. This is our main purpose in the Erasmus project. Opening your mind, enriching is your life, is the motto of the Erasmus, and we really hope that we have contributed in doing that. We really thank you very much for your attention. Again, thanks to the three students, to Allegra, to Alessandra, and everybody. And we hope to see you soon online, but at least we can work online, and this is really great. Bye, and have a nice evening to everybody.